Okay, I'm live. Okay, I'm sorry. I started up this morning and had it all set up, and then it wouldn't go live. So I had to open a new one. So here I am. We'll give it a few minutes for people to show up. There's nobody right now. I'll wait a few minutes. Let me see. Let me share the link. There's no share? Here's the share. I'll send it to you, Sarah. You got it? Okay, now I've got 4 people. Oh, 25. Oh my goodness. Yay! Okay, so I was having issues. I had the other one all set up, and then when I pushed go live, I just got that circle going round and round and round, and it wouldn't go live. So I had to start over. I'm sorry. So let's see. Shirley said she made her swatch. Yay. Carolyn Nichols, good morning. Loanna Hendricks from Missouri. Lilith Eden, Suzanne Asmussen. Jurgen, Susan McBride, Mary Inman, Marianne Caperpal, Audrey Perry. Yay. Hello, Audrey. Judith Lausch. Yay. Roger Abernathy. Good morning from Nashville, Norway. Marianne Capperdahl. This is so fun. Oh my goodness. I have a long list of questions to answer today. We'll kind of chit chat for a minute and give people a chance to find this because there were quite a few people on the other one waiting for it to go live. Let's see. I'm getting some text. Hold on. I got to deal with this. People are wanting starting a live stream. It's 9:04. I had to restart. Recheck my channel. The learning curve on this, I'm learning all this stuff because I never did live streaming before. It would not go live. Okay, so now we've got 51 people on here. I'm waiting for, let me know when you're on here. Let me know when you're on. Sarah, can you share the new, okay, thanks. So, okay, cool. Hey, Claudio, hi to see you. Elizabeth Kurtz from Staunton, Virginia. Audrey Perry, no problem. I've never done some of the things we're learning before either. Good for you for learning new stuff. Yeah. Well, I never thought that I would have to learn all this stuff in association with knitting. Isn't it amazing? I just thought I was a knitter, but now I'm a YouTuber. Oh my goodness. And it's kind of fun. So what do you think of this poncho? Isn't this pretty? This is my newest creation. In fact, I'm working on the pattern for this, and hopefully we'll have it up in the next week or so. Hello, Cindy. Okay, so my daughter's in my ears again. Remember, if you haven't joined me before, I'm hard of hearing and I wear hearing aids. And in order to answer your questions, which I see streaming all down the side of my computer screen here, and talk to you at the same time, I have my daughter assisting me. My daughter's name is Sarah. Some of you may know her already, and you could say, hi, Sarah. Anyway, she's on my phone, in my phone here. Yes. Oh, my goodness. Okay, I got to communicate. Everyone. There's still 37 people waiting on that other live one that's never going to go live. So I've got to deal with that. Just a second, okay? I hate it when technical issues happen. So let's see. Go to my main page and reconnect, please, to new link. I don't know how to delete the other one. Let me see if I can. Okay, so this is the only one you can click on. My daughter's discussing. Okay, so we need to go to the live one. I'm sorry for the technical stuff. We'll get this cleared up. Go to the live link. Yes. Yes. Refresh. Yes. Okay, okay. Thank you for being patient. So I have a lot of questions. Let's wait till some of these people get on here. We're just killing a little bit of time right now. I'm sorry about that. Um, and Dimitri, hi. I wish I could meet some of you in person. Someday we'll have to have like a big retreat or something, and we can all meet in person, because I feel like I know some of you because I've communicated with you so often. So let's see. I'm going to show my green sweater again. A lot of people ask about this. That's the inside. It's embroidery. This is the outside. Isn't that pretty? This is not ever going to be a pattern. I'm never going to write it up because it's a lot of work. This is a piece of art. This is my art. And to write it up into a pattern so that everyone's turned out as beautiful as this is just too time consuming. I'm just not going to do it. But if you hang in with me over time, and it might be years, like 2 or 3 years, you will have the skills to do this all by yourself. I'm going to teach you. So that's what we're starting with this cardigan, this raglan cardigan. You're learning skills that you can use for everything in all of your knitting. And so let's answer some of the questions. Okay, I've got 105 people on here now. So this is from Fiddle Beads in my Ravelry group, and she said, I'd like to use your wandering cable pattern. Can you please discuss why you have separate yarns for each cable leg? Okay, that's in this little Intarsia. Yes? Sarah, did you say something? Okay, so this is Intarsia, and people wanted to see it up close. I did use a separate strand for each leg. This is what the back looks like. And these are my 6 strands. There's 6 legs, so there's 6 strands here. Those are the only strands. I haven't woven anything in yet. That's what the back looks like. Now, somebody asked if rather than using 6 strands, one for each of the cable leg, you could just use one and strand it across the back. You could certainly try doing that. Try doing that on a swatch. I suspect what will happen, though, because of the stranding, that it would pull these pieces together and it would cause puckering in the background stitches. But you can try it. Give it a try. I just haven't tried that because this is what makes sense to me. But give it a try and let us know. So that is from, which one was that? That was from Fiddle Beads. So I got that one answered. Let's see. This is also from Fiddle Beads. And she says, this is another blocking question. You didn't address using pins in her video, but my stocking stitch swatches still curl. Okay, she has several little points in this one. When I make a gauge swatch, yes, I do pin the edges down so it doesn't curl. But I'm very, very careful to not stretch it or change the fabric in any way, change the dimensions from what it wants to be. But then on the other hand, when it's dry and I take the pins out, I manipulate it a lot and I give it time to go back to the shape that it really wants to be before I measure my gauge. This is true for superwash as well as non-superwash. And I think that Fiddle Beads also asked if she's heard that you should block the swatch the same way you plan on washing the sweater. And in regards to superwash, should you block it in the washing machine and the dryer? Well, that's a really good question. I don't put any of my knitting in the washing machine and dryer, even if it's superwash, because as I was telling you before, and I'll tell you again, there's two ways that you can create superwash wool. And one is, let me see here. Let's see. So there's two ways to create superwash fiber on the wool to make the fiber superwash. You know, wool has little scales on it, just like human hair. Our human hair has little scales on it. And that's what makes it felt or get tangled up with itself. So it's all those little scales on the fibers, they catch with each other, and that will cause wool yarn to felt. So there's two ways to deal with those scales. One is to coat them with something, and that covers them up and makes them smooth so that the wool won't catch on itself. The other way is to chemically remove them. Now and so they're just not there. The problem is we don't know when we buy our superwash wool which technique they used, and they're not going to tell you, and we're never going to find out. The method that coats it, eventually that coating wears off and the wool will felt. So you're playing Russian roulette when you put it in the washer and dryer, because putting it in the washer is what causes that coating to wear off. You might wash it and dry it 20 times and it's just fine, but on the 21st time, it will felt. And you don't know which time it's going to be. So I just don't put any of my wool in the washing machine. So I always hand block my things because I'm going to hand wash them. So, and Susan Anderson said, had that issue with socks. One felted after washing in the washing machine, then the other didn't. There you go. See? So after I put that much work into creating the beautiful things that I create, there's no way I'm putting them in the washing machine. Now, if you were knit with acrylic, yeah, you can throw it in the washing machine. That would be okay. So let's see. That was the answer to that question. Oh, and once I make the swatch, I carry it around with me and I manipulate it a lot, maybe even for a week before I actually measure the gauge. That keeps the swatch from lying to you. Oh, say, Kai Lady says, I've designed a sweater or two, but did not know how to stage it or resize it. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to address that here. That's a book unto itself. Sizing patterns is beyond what we're going to go into here. And okay, so Pat Gordon asks, if a skein says gauge is 15 to 18 stitches per 4 inches with a US needle, my chosen gauge should be somewhere in that range. That is the range that the yarn manufacturer suggests for that yarn. You may not get that gauge with a 7 needle. You might get it with a 5 or a 6 or an 8. Everybody's tension is a little bit different. So they are suggesting a 7. That means a starting point. In my gauge video, my swatch video, I showed you to use 3 different needle sizes. And that's why I do that, because you don't know which fabric you're going to like the best and which needle size is going to be best for you. No two knitters are the same. Everybody has slightly different tension that they hold their yarn. I hope that answers that question for you, Pat. That's a great question. So Dimitri says, so not iOS. What do you mean by not iOS? Okay, so that's good. Okay, so I'm not going to talk about how to write a pattern and put it in a variety of sizes. That's just a different topic. Way beyond what we're doing here. Pardon me? Oh, the poncho pattern. Isn't this pretty? Let me stand up or back up a little bit. This is my poncho pattern. This is mosaic knitting. And it has a brioche collar. Isn't that pretty? And then it has corrugated ribbing around the edge to frame it. Yes, it's mosaic knitting. And I am going to write it up and it will be a pattern of it. I can't wait to see somebody knit this in a variegated yarn and a solid. Wouldn't that be pretty? Oh my God, that'd be so gorgeous. So let me keep going with these questions. This is kind of... So who asked that? Cindy Gonzalez asked, when using bulky yarn for the knit along, is there cable patterns to stay clear from? No, you just need to swatch your cable pattern and see how wide it's going to be. That's the biggest hurdle or restriction is the back neck width. Your cable going down the back of your sweater can't be wider than your back neck width, not the number of stitches, the width. In one of my videos I showed, in fact, I can show you here with these swatches. This is 40 stitches wide. This is 40 stitches wide. Let me line them up. Do you see the difference? So here, this is 40 stitches wide in stockinette. This is 40 stitches wide with a cable with stockinette on each side. So you can see that cable, all this fabric got pulled in to make that cable. So on your back neck, let's say this is your back neck and you have 40 stitches, you can have a lot more than 40 stitches in your cable because it will pull way in. You might be able to have 60 stitches in your cable, although I don't think anybody's going to do that. But that's just to give you an idea. You want to use the width, not the stitch count. You have to actually swatch your cable and see how wide it's going to be. And then we will discuss how do you cast on for that to compensate for it. We're going to be doing that. Okay, here, Suzanne, I was looking for cable patterns. I came across one called Slip Stitch Cable. This is from Sweet Jane 11 on Ravelry. Yes, that's a fine, you can use a slip stitch cable. That would work fine. Here is Sock Genius. It says, from a design perspective, should the style of the front and back cables be similar? They can be whatever you want. If you like the cables, if they appeal to you, you can use them and they will go together. It's kind of like, that's how I do color work. If I like the colors, they probably go together because I like them. And if you like your colors, they probably go together because you like them. Rather than using a color wheel or scientific research, if it draws my eye and I like that color, it will probably go with other colors that I like. And I have a very different color perspective because I'm a redhead. I'm a natural redhead. And redheads we don't see colors differently. We're attracted to different colors than people with blonde hair, brown hair, black hair, etc. So you see us wearing orange and neon green, but you don't see us wearing maroon or navy blue, although this is kind of that, but an exception. Okay, let me go through some more questions here. This is from Nan Fee on Ravelry. After going through all my pattern books, I haven't found any cables I like better than the ones I used on my sweater. You can use those and I will post them. Yes. And Tez Socks has the same question. She likes the cables. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can use the ones that are on my sweater, and I will have those in the next handout, the next pages that come out in the pattern tutorial, the written part. This is from G2 Knit. I am not sure if the place to ask this, but I've watched the calculating required yardage from a schematic video. Her question is about the hips. You do not need to add extra ease at the hips if you've already added your ease at the bust, but you do need to add extra width if your hips are like more than 4 inches larger than your bust. And I will address that more in the next handout. I'm going to draw some little pictures and make it more clear. I'm also going to do a little bit better job on the math thing because a lot of people had issues with that. So I need to rethink how I'm presenting that material and give you a better way to deal with the math. This one says, I'm overwhelmed with all the discussion threads on Ravelry, in my group on Ravelry. So what we've done is we've created my right-hand woman, Dolise, on Ravelry, is rearranging the threads. And so what she's going to do, there's going to be one for technical talk about the pattern, a thread, and it has 3 hearts next to it, and another one that is just for general discussion where people want to chit chat and share their ideas and show what they're doing. So it narrows it down to 2 threads, and she's got little hearts next to them. So if you go on to my group and you see the posts with the hearts, those tell you which ones you need to keep track of. You need to read those posts. It helps you narrow it down. I know there is those people are really chatty, aren't they? They're kind of fun. This is from Honeysuckle Sweet. She wants to knit a sweater for her grandson with a chest circumference of 16 inches, and she's wondering if she can use the same methods and everything we're talking about. Yes, it will still work. You can do exactly the same thing. You don't even have to use Ann Budd's book because it's probably smaller than what she has listed in there. This is from So Chick Mom Knits. I want to use this experience, first of all, for my son. I'd rather not knit a cardigan. Is it possible to knit a yoke jumper instead with the knit on? Nope, sorry. I'm sorry. I have to create some boundaries, and the next sweater we're going to do is a yoke, and you'll be able to do it as a cardigan or a pullover, but this one is raglan, not a yoke. They're similar though. This is Crispy Quilts. I have two questions. When measuring for the back, should it be from the spot on your neck where the top of a crew neck would sit or just below the crew neck? And she's wondering about the 2 inches of ease for the wrist. You can use whatever ease you want for the wrist. I just suggested 2 inches. If you want your cuff to be tight so it doesn't move, you can use the actual measurement of your wrist. But if you're going to be wearing it over another garment that's going to be underneath the wrist of your sweater, you do need to have a little bit of ease, or it's going to be pushing your undergarment sleeve up your arm a bit. So it's up to you. It's your sweater. You can knit it however you want, whatever ease you want. And the place you measure on the back of your neck is that bone. Use that bone that sticks out on the back of your neck. It's the same place you used when you were measuring your arm length. Okay, I'm working my way through these. In one of the earlier threads, Suzanne said, you can work this sweater in cotton, linen, and other natural cellulose fibers. And she says she wants to use 53% cotton, 14% linen, 33% viscose. That'll be fine. That'll work. That was from Susie Fu. So Susie Fu, if you're on here, that's your answer. Good morning, Ruth. Nice to see you. Hi, Jackie. Even though it says you're David. Hi, Jackie. Bonnie Davis. Just a second. Bonnie Davis, are you doing 2-color Intarsia on all your cables? Yes, I'm going to do 2-color Intarsia on all my cables. I hope to use your cable shown in the pattern pics. How many stitches wide is it? Let's see, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. It's 27 stitches wide. So that was Mary Inman. And X-ray, madam, how do you retract? Oh, somebody retracted a measurement. She wants to know how to do that. Hello from Sweden. I can't move my questions up and down. What's going on here? Okay. So let's go to another question. This is from Ronksnit. Hi, Suzanne. My question is about ease. I'm planning to add 4 inches would take my width up to 40 inches. Although I'm using a worsted weight, I will probably be wearing it over a t-shirt. Yes, 4 inches of ease would be okay with worsted weight if you don't plan on wearing much underneath it. That would be fine. I use 4 inches, like if I knit a worsted weight pullover that's going to be, I'm just going to wear a tank top or something under it, I use 4 inches of ease. That would be fine. Okay, and this is from Dolly. She says, someone has inquired about the green and embroidered Aran sweater you created, so here's her special request. Will the pattern ever become available? Will it ever be a subject of a knit-along? The green sweater, which is right here, this green sweater will never be a written pattern. It's just for me. It's my personal sweater. But we could do a knit along where you could choose your own things and do it. This could be an Aran knit along and you could choose your own cables and I could show you how to embroider them. Yes, we could do that later on. That's more technical and you need to up your skills before you do that. So if you just hang in there and we'll work through some sweaters and we can get up to it. I think the next one is going to be the yoke sweater, which will be really fun. And I'm already excited to see what people do with it because you'll be able to insert your own patterns into the yoke. Be very, very cool. Okay, so I want to answer some questions on here still. Somebody said, hi, Dolish, you're doing a great job on Ravelry. Yes, you are. I couldn't do it without you. Thank you. Oh, yeah, make sure to like my video. Give me a thumbs up. Share my video. There's that share button down there. Did you see the share button? It looks like a little arrow that points over that way. Can you see it? If you hit that, it gives you a link and you can actually share that wherever you want. You can share it on Facebook, you can share it on Pinterest, you can share it in Ravelry or Reddit or any other social media that you use where you have a knitting group. Be sure to share my videos. If you like my work and you appreciate what I'm doing for you, that's the best way for you to say thank you to me, because that gets me spread out there, and I do actually earn money from this. I think I earn about like 0.08 cents per view, which isn't very much, but after hundreds of thousands of views, it does add up. Right now, to tell you the truth, I'm probably getting about 150,000 views a month, and I make about $450 from that. So that pays for my yarn. That helps me with my yarn. Let's see, there's some other questions. I'm trying to learn how to knit continental style, but I'm getting ridging due to tension issues. Should I stick with English? No, it just means you need to practice more in your continental. I have an excellent video that I can link down below this in the description. When you're done and you watch the replay of this video down below, in the description of the video, I can put links to the things that we're talking about. I have one about tension, even tension, and it will help you fix your problems with your continental knitting. I've just joined. I wanted to tell you, love your poncho you're wearing right now. I love this too. Isn't this pretty? I'm knitting 2 socks at a time on magic loop taupe with stretchy yarn. My side stitches are very loose. Must I tighten as I knit? When you change from one part of the needle to the other, you make the first stitch tight and then the second stitch tight. That's the trick to not having ladders down the side of your sock. X-Ray Madam said, I will watch for the link to improving tension. It makes a huge difference, as I learned from Binkett. What the knit retreat? Yes. Andrea came to our retreat. That's X-Ray Madam. And we had so much fun. So yes, do watch that video on the tension. It will help people with continental knitting as well as people with English style knitting. Do you know why that's called English knitting or throwing versus continental or picking? Well, knitting actually started in the Egyptian area, but then migrated up into the European area. So the whole European area was knitting, not just England. But English people call the rest of Europe the continent. And so the people that were in Germany and those areas, they knitted continental, and the people in England knit throwing. So that became the English style, and the Germany and the other European countries became the continental style. It doesn't have anything to do with the United States. Unfortunately, the British came to the United States and settled here, so we got predominance of English style knitting in the United States. I actually prefer continental style, but it's personal preference. You can knit however you want. I think I can knit a whole lot faster continental style. It uses less motion with my hands. I have less wrist, elbow, and shoulder movement, so I think I'm at a less risk of getting carpal tunnel and stuff like that. Called repetitive motion injuries. This is my coffee. Good morning, and I'm having coffee. Okay, let me go on here. I have another question. Let's see. This is from K Tart. Could you show us the back side of your cable swatch? Okay, I did that already, but I'll do it again. This is the back side. It has not been cleaned up. I haven't done anything to this. These are my 6 ends up here. This is exactly what it looks like. I think the back is as pretty as the front, just completely different. There's the front. I love this. I'm leaning towards that on my sweater. And let me see the next question. We're doing pretty good here. Will the button band create additional ease to the front of the sweater? It can if you want to make it wider. Yes. If you're worried about the front, but we'll be talking about the button band real shortly, because before we can start knitting, we need to know what the button band's going to be. This me jumping far ahead, but here goes. I prefer the appearance of a vertical. This is from Florestine. I prefer the appearance of a vertical button band, but don't know how to make a good job of it. I'm thinking you're making a vertical button band going this way versus knitted on as you go. we're going to be making a vertical button band. I'll be teaching you how to do that, and it'll look perfect. If you want to watch my video, I think it's called A Perfect Button Band or something like that, and we can link that below this video. You'll get the idea of what we're going to do there. And then I've always wondered how many stitches to add when swapping stockinette for a cable pattern, and that's what I was showing here. I'll show that again. So here, this is 40 stitches wide. You can see how wide this is. This is the same yarn, same needles, and this is also 40 stitches wide. This little cable pattern. So I'm lining them up here. You can see that it really pulled the stitches in. The only way you can tell is by actually swatching. Now, after you've swatched a lot, I've done a lot of these types of cables with the 2 knit legs, which it's really easy to see here. I like those the Celtic kind of cables. I like those a lot. I've knit those a lot, and I've found that I need to add 1 stitch for each 2-stitch leg. I need to add 50% of the cables back in. So this is 40 stitches wide, just like that other swatch. There's 40 stitches in here. But I didn't cast on 40 stitches, or you'd have this wavy, puckery cast on edge here. And we're going to be going through that real soon. If you want to jump ahead to that, you can watch. I have 3 videos, one on what is cable flare, and then cable flare reduction cast on, and cable flare reduction bind off, and it explains all about those. Only 1 thread of the main color on your main. Yes, in this, there's only 1 yarn. It's right here for the main panel. The only place that's the Intarsia. So I did strand that across. The gray is stranded across. The orange is the one that has the separate strands for each leg. Okay. Could you talk more about the blocking process? I'm new to this class. For example, you explained blocking by soaking, holding the swatch down. We already talked about that one. How many stitches? Okay, so I've answered all of the questions. Do you have any more questions? Do you have a video? How to connect the bind off in the round? Yes, I do. I have a video called, what's it called? Foundation Skills for Knitting in the Round. And I show you how to connect the cast on edge and the bind off edge in that video, and how to avoid ladders when changing from one needle to the next. We can link that down below. And then I also have a video of the large knit before purl and cables. And yes, I have a video on that. And I use that same technique in the Intarsia cables. We'll have to link that. I think Dolise is keeping track for me of these videos that I say I'm going to link. Bonnie Davis, if you do you have a video how to connect the bind off? Can you advise on the best bind off for ribbing so it's inconspicuous? Yes, the best bind off for ribbing is in pattern. So if you have a knit 2 purl 2 ribbing, you would bind off in knit 2 purl 2, and that's also on my button band video. If you watch that, I compare a standard bind off with knitting in the binding off in pattern, and you can see that it's less conspicuous. In fact, it just blends in. It's very nice. I'm going to be making a video on the Intarsia cable swatch, and both methods. There's this method of just having the whole panel in Intarsia. This is the back of the swatch. This is where you connect. See right here, the Intarsia connections. I'll have a video on how to do this and how to do this. They'll probably be the same video. And that'll probably be this week. In fact, there are probably going to be several videos coming up this week, and I hope you don't get overwhelmed with them, but there's a lot of information to come out right in the beginning. There's a lot of preparation to do before you actually start a sweater. And I hope that you're getting the feel for that, because a lot of people think they can just jump in and start knitting a sweater and that it will turn out and be beautiful. And it might be out of sheer luck. But if you want it to be, do you want to be sure that it's going to be beautiful, you have to go through this preparation process. And I actually enjoy the preparation process. What I do is I always have multiple projects on my needles. And as I'm getting towards finishing one, I start preparing for the next one. So I carry all these pieces and parts around with me. Excuse me, you can ask my friends. I show everybody my swatches all the time. I'm always feeling them. I get them out. I look at them. And that way I know that I really like them before I actually start my sweater. So I went to, no, it's not too late to join. Anita B, thank you for finding me. It is not too late to join. There'll be a link to the pattern in the bottom. It is $25, and that sounds like a lot of money for a knitting pattern. But it's not just a knitting pattern. You're going to end up with a beautiful sweater, but you're also going to learn how to knit a sweater. It's not just a pattern. It's like, how do you create a wonderful sweater? And all the tips and tricks. And these tips and tricks you'll be able to use in all your future knitting. So I'm teaching you how to be a wonderful knitter. And all of my videos are in a playlist. It's called It Takes a Guild on my YouTube channel. And they're in order that I've presented them for this sweater. So you can go back and watch those videos from the top down if you're just starting. And then if you purchase the pattern, you also get the written materials. So there's two parts to this sweater. There's all the videos, which anybody can see. You don't have to buy the pattern to watch the videos. But then the technical information is given in the written materials that you get when you purchase the pattern. And when you finish, you'll have like a book. I'm telling you, it's going to probably be 30 or 40 pages long. I'm sorry, but it's a tutorial on how to knit a sweater. Signa Williams says $25 is a bargain here. Yes, it is. I'm also teaching a live class here in our local yarn store. It's called The Twisted Skein. And that class, I have 20 students, and they pay $100 each to take that class from me. And there's always a waiting list. So anything else or any of you going to Stitches Pasadena? So Stitches SoCal in Pasadena, that is going to be, I think it's November 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th or something like that. And I'll be there. And I'm only taking one class, so I plan on doing a lot of socializing. If you're going to be there, look me up. I look just like this. You can find me. I'll be hanging out in the lobby knitting. I am taking one class. And then in February, I'm going to Stitches West, which is in Santa Clara. And if you're going to go there, look me up. I'm also taking one class at that one too. And I would love to meet you in person. So Cindy Gonzalez says, do you have an outline for the knit along of what's coming up weekly? I don't. But if you go to the pattern page, there is an outline on the pattern page that tells you all the skills that you're going to learn. I've listed them all out there. With a DK yarn 5, so where is this one? What's the name of the? Audrey Perry asked, she says she's using DK weight yarn and she's using 5 inches of ease. That would be fine. The ease is based upon how you like your garments to fit. Some people like their garments more loose. Some people like them tighter. And it also depends on what you plan on wearing under it. If you're planning on just wearing a tank top under it, then you can have less ease. If you're planning on wearing another garment, like a sweater or something under it, like you're planning to wear it in the winter when it's cold, then you need more ease because it needs to be able to fit over the other sweater. It's a personal preference. Dolise wants to know what classes I am taking. The class that I'm taking at Stitches SoCal, which is in Pasadena, I'm taking the Foxpaw class from Zandy Peters. And not that I want to learn Foxpaw, but Zandy Peters just seems like a really interesting person, and I want to see what she has to teach. A lot of times when I take classes, what I'm really looking for are new tips and ideas, but I also want to see how people teach, because then I can incorporate their teaching skills into my teaching skills. I want to be the best teacher that I can be. The way that knitting is passed from generation to generation is from person to person. And so you have to be able to teach people in a way that they can get it. I'm gonna try, somebody wants to knit the cables. They're anxious about that. That's Kathy Westridge. I'm anxious to swatch the cable that's in my example. I'm going to try to send the cables out today. That's my plan. Whether that will actually happen, I don't know. I also plan on writing the pattern, finishing writing up the pattern for this today. And I'm also going to yarn store to help stuff knitted knockers today. So, and I'm babysitting my granddaughter, my 4-year-old granddaughter. Luckily, she hasn't run into this room naked yet. So, you know, I think big. That doesn't mean I always get everything I want to get done, but I do get a lot done. So somebody asked, how are we going to determine the width of the cable for the sleeves? That's a little more complicated, and we'll talk about that. That'll be in writing. I'll show you how to do that. There'll be a little diagram how to do it. And Elaine Homesteads, do we need to make our background stitches in the cable design reverse stockinette? That's up to you. I would do a swatch with reverse stockinette and a swatch without and see how you like it. And if you notice, when I do my cable swatches, I do some stockinette on each side so that I can see what it looks like within a stockinette fabric. If I just knitted this part of the cable right here, I can't tell what it looks like within the stockinette fabric. Do you see what I'm saying? So even with this little cable that's all one color, I still have my stockinette stitches on each side so I can see what it looks like within the stockinette fabric, which will be the rest of the sweater. I don't just have this part right here because then you can't tell. Does that answer that? Do we need to make our Mary E? Sorry for the repeat. I like the stitches on the button band to be vertical, i.e. the same direction as the body rather than picked up and knit perpendicular to the front. That won't work with the shawl collar. That was Mary E. You could do that on another sweater, but on this particular sweater, we're going to be picking up the stitches. Liliana Bazas, do we always need stitches to do the fabric? I don't understand that one. Maybe you could restate your question, Liliana. I don't get that. My yarn, Vanita Tayal, my yarn's recommended needle size is US 5, but I am liking the fabric with a 3. That'd be fine. Use a 3. That's fine. If you like the fabric, that's what this is all about. I would call this, we're starting with fabric and then we're creating a sweater. So you have to like the fabric. Whatever needle size it takes is fine. If you like that fabric, then that's the needle size you should use. Blueberry, Liliana Baza. Okay, but can you call me Blueberry? Hi, Blueberry. Yes, I will. Okay. Roger, do the cables we choose need to begin and end with knit 2, purl 2 to fall in line with the knit 2, purl 2 hem? No, what we're going to do, this is another thing that you're going to learn, is how to mesh your cables into the hem at the bottom. For example, let me show you on the green sweater. There's my hem. Do you see how I brought the cables down into it? Here's my background stitches over here. So this is my regular ribbing down there. And then for my cable sections, I just carried parts of them. I changed them, I modified them, but I carried them down into the ribbing. And that's what will set your knitting apart from everybody else's. This is what makes these things as beautiful as they are, is thinking about the overall process. The ribbing is not a separate piece of fabric that you just add on. The ribbing should be a flow, a continuum of the pattern down to the bottom. But it needs to have an equal number of knits and purls, and that's what keeps it from curling. Okay, love the green sweater. Okay, I think I've got everything. So really, I would appreciate it if you share my video, if you leave comments, come back and watch it, replay it so you can see the links that I put in. And I want you to thank the people that helped me. The people that helped me are my daughter, Sarah, who's in my ears and reminding me to answer your questions. Dolise, who is I could not do this without her. And then all the people that are participating in this knit along, I want to thank you too. It is so fun. This is so fun for me. I enjoy every single minute of it. I love reading your comments. I like seeing your feedback. I can understand your frustrations at times, and I will try to help you through those. So I hope to see you back here. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Share my videos. Leave me comments. Give me thumbs up. That helps spread it around. And I'll see you next time. Have a good rest of the day. I hope this time slot worked for you. Bye-bye.